Housing affordability is so out of whack, and I got some bad news. It's only going to get worse. And what it's really starting to do is create an impingement on our mortgage lending system. You know, if you go for a house that's expensive enough, it's called a jumbo loan. And there's some major disadvantages of a jumbo loan. And now some people are being forced to get a loan type that they don't want because housing prices are out of control. Here's the scoop. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what a jumbo loan is. And the reason why this is really critical is because of what's happening to the median home price. As in 3 years ago, it was sitting around $270,000 and currently it's sitting over $430,000. And because this year we have a number of scheduled rate drops, what that means is that the price of real estate is gonna keep going up. Now you might be wondering, why do the prices keep increasing? And it's because we're now missing 7.2 million homes. That number continues to increase month over month over month. And at this point, it's probably gonna take a decade or more before we can actually satisfy that demand. So you can imagine that if rates drop another 1 or 2%, it's going to create a stir in the market to want to buy more houses. And as more houses are listed, it's going to be that bidding war scenario that we saw a few years ago where people are going to keep bidding in the price higher and higher and higher. In fact, I can see a scenario where by the end of 2024, we could be looking at a national median over $500,000. And that's kind of scary because people's incomes are not increasing at that rate. And we've got inflation that is a big part of this problem. So as those prices become higher and higher, what it does is it forces mortgage lenders to question what kind of loans they should be giving out. And there's a special kind of loan that's generated when people buy a more expensive home, and it's called a jumbo loan. And it's in a category of its own. So what I want to do is help you understand what a jumbo loan is and why it's important for you to understand. As the name implies, a jumbo loan covers a larger than normal loan amount. More specifically, a jumbo loan is any mortgage that exceeds an area's conforming loan limits, which is set yearly by the Federal Housing and Finance Agency. For 2024, the limit for conforming loans for most of the continental US is $766,550. In areas where median home prices are significantly higher, that average can go up as high as $1.149 million. The reason why this is a big deal, though, is because jumbo loans have different standards that you have to qualify for. In fact, I remember when I was qualifying for my first jumbo loan, and they were asking for different documents, and they had different criteria, and they had higher than average interest rates. And when I looked at all of that, I thought, wow, I'm starting to understand that a jumbo loan equals higher risk. In other words, if you're a bank and you're lending money, you're like, it's probably pretty safe to lend on condos and townhomes. For example, if you're a bank, you're thinking, okay, the most typical real estate that we're going to lend on is something around the median, a $300,000, $400,000, or $500,000 home. And so you think, okay, well, condos and townhomes, those people actually don't have as much equity, they don't appreciate as well, they are a higher risk of flight or foreclosure, so we'll actually give them a higher interest rate even though it's a less expensive piece of property. They do the exact same thing on the other end of the spectrum. Once you hit jumbo limits, they start saying, oh, well, if we actually lost this home to foreclosure, this is a bigger asset sitting on our bank account balance, so we should charge them differently. We should have higher fee structures, we should charge them higher interest rates, because the reality is it's really high risk on the low end where you have, let's just call it the poverty class that are buying real estate. And on the other end, it's also risky because the asset's so big that if they lose it, it's gonna hurt the bank. Jumbo loan means we're taking on extra risk and we're gonna charge you for it. Despite their untraditional status, jumbo loans aren't much different than maybe a traditional mortgage when it comes to the ways that they work. I mean, the payment schedules and other details are generally the same. Borrowers can get fixed or adjustable rate mortgages with various term options. However, the interest rates on jumbo loans often differ from their conforming loan counterparts. As of April 1st, 2024, the 30-year jumbo rate was 7.06%, which was about 1/4% higher than what they're doing on normal loans. But there's another reason why the jumbo loan personally concerns me. Every human, you have what's called a DTI, a debt to income ratio. And it basically means based on how much money you make and what your expenses are, there's an amount of real estate in total the bank is willing to lend you. And let's just say for a moment that that total amount is $600,000. Well, if you buy a $599,000 home, guess what? The banks are gonna say the next time you want a home, you're out of luck because you basically used all your borrowing power on this really large loan. We have nothing new that we're willing to lend you. For me as an investor, I'm always encouraging people to buy below the median or buy more conservatively so they can say, hey, I bought a home, but because I turned it into a rental, I get to take some of the rent and count it against the home, which drops my debt to income ratio and allows me to requalify for another home. Hence, I got in a mode of buying one house, and because it was a rental property, I used the rent to wipe it out on the books, and then I bought another one, and basically the banks kept lending me more and more real estate. But if you use all of your buying power on a personal residence, you lose the ability to do that. On top of that, to qualify for a jumbo loan, you'll need a higher credit score and possibly higher income, more down payment and more assets than you would with a conforming loan. For example, US Bank calls for a minimum of a 740 credit score to be considered for a jumbo loan versus 620 on a conforming loan. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, there's a world of a difference between 620, which is not great credit, 680 being average, 700 be good, 740 means you've been keeping your nose clean for a really long time. So at the end of the day, there are definitely some pros and cons when it comes to jumbo loans. Here are some of the pros. It allows you to borrow more than a traditional mortgage. The interest rates are competitive, but they're definitely higher. And there's an opportunity to buy a more expensive home, maybe live in a higher cost region. But look at some of the downsides. It's going to require a higher credit score, a larger annual income. You're going to have 6 to 12 months of reserves in the bank. You're going to have higher interest rates. And more importantly, you're going to blow your wad when it comes to have excess buying power on building a real estate portfolio. And let's be honest, if you're following me on social media, there's a good chance you're subscribed. You are subscribed, right? Because you actually want to build a real estate investment portfolio. And right now, a jumbo loan might actually be hurting your ability to do that. And if you're going, especially after instant gratification, you may be putting spending before investing. By the way, I got my first jumbo loan after I bought 25 properties. And the reason why I was able to do it is because I had a 6-figure residual income that was coming off of all of those rentals. And when I qualified for that $1.5 million home, I knew that I was increasing my lifestyle. I knew that I was gonna park a couple of really dope vehicles in the garage. I knew that I was gonna start traveling around the world. And the reason why I did it that late in the game is because I focused first on investing as opposed to having a nicer lifestyle. I basically took the first 5 years of investing and said, I'm not gonna own a single nice thing. I'm gonna put everything I got into investments. And those investments actually enabled me to eventually have that jumbo loan, have my real estate pay for it, and live a very different lifestyle because spending came after investing. And you might be watching this video thinking, yeah, Kris, I'm actually watching this video because I'm thinking about taking out a jumbo loan. Is that a good idea? And what I would say is, if you prioritize investing first before lifestyle, then you'll be able to have down the road a lifestyle so big, but with so much reduced stress. And I can tell you exactly when you should do that. It's called a game plan. It's where I basically step into your shoes and say, all right, if I were you and wanted to prioritize becoming a multimillionaire before I took out a jumbo mortgage and increased my lifestyle, what steps would I take to actually make that happen? And today I'm offering you that game plan for free. There's actually a link below where you drop in your name and phone number, and me and my team reach out and say, all right, like what would Kris do? And I'll give you a very specific Kris Krohn wealth game plan on what you should be doing step by step to focus on building as much wealth as possible. Because understand this, my real goal is actually to help you live the most amazing lifestyle possible. I just understand that investing comes first. So whether you're looking for a jumbo loan or you're watching this simply to get yourself educated, or you really want to build an investment portfolio, click the link below, fill out the information, and let me give you that free game plan so you can figure out your fastest path to your dream lifestyle. You might be wondering, Kris, I don't have a pile of cash. I don't got jumbo mortgages anywhere in my near future. What about me? How do I get in the game of investing? And the answer is, you've got to learn something called creative real estate. Creative financing is basically where you learn to buy real estate without needing cash and without needing credit. And if you want to know exactly how that works, click right here and let me teach you right now.